Hey YouTube, this is MindTech. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Logitech MX Master 3. Now at $100, the price point for this product is quite steep, but it offers a lot of features that I believe video editors, developers, and even accountants would find very useful. Now I purchased the MX Master 3 about a year ago, and I have enjoyed a lot of its features, but it's really made me think, is this product really worth it? So with that said, I'm going to try to answer that question today. So the first thing I would like to point out, I absolutely love the design of the MX Master 3. I love the charcoal gray color that Logitech chose to feature. I think it looks very sleek with almost any setup, although I am a bit concerned about the rubber coating that Logitech decided to use. As you can see, it's already gotten a bit dirty. I'm also a bit concerned about the durability of this material. I've seen older products that have used a similar rubber that has it melt over time and just kind of gets scratched and smudged off, and it just becomes a sticky mess. I also like the rechargeable battery that Logitech included with the MX Master 3. It's nice not having to worry about having to change out the batteries over time, and considering that there is a rechargeable battery built in, I would say that it is a good weight. It is a bit on the heavy side for what I like, but it's still very comfortable for me to use. It's very fast to charge up, and I love that Logitech included a USB Type-C charging port on the mouse, and they also made it so that you can plug it in and charge it while you are using the mouse. And I would say that the battery on a full charge lasts about a month or so, so it does have good battery life, but when it does die, you can just plug it in without having to try to find another mouse or whatever. It isn't like Apple's Magic Mouse that you have to put on its side and keep it charging like this until it's fully charged, which is just a terrible, terrible design move. The buttons that Logitech included on the mouse are also quite nice. They are very tactile, and they are also incredibly uniform. If I go and press the button at the far end here, and then I go and press it at the far end over here, it has about the same response as it does in the center of the mouse. I do also like the positioning of the forward and back buttons that Logitech included, and I like that they didn't decide to include a bunch of hotkey buttons or something that just kind of might get overwhelming over time. Although I would like to see these buttons be a bit more tactile, however, they are a bit on the mushy side. Now, this scroll wheel is one of the headlining features of the MX Master 3, and it was something that I thought was kind of a gimmick when I was deciding to purchase it. After using it, I have to say that it is probably my favorite feature of the mouse overall. Now, this features a metal and magnetic scroll wheel, so not only does it feel very premium, but it also allows you to change your scrolling experience. Some people like having just a smooth scroll, whereas other people like having a ratchet so that you can go and precisely choose the placement on a page that you're looking for. And if you just press this button in the middle, you can switch between those two modes. So right now I'm in the ratcheting mode, so if I go and move the wheel just a little bit, it only moves the page a little bit down. Whereas if I go and press this button in the middle and I go and move, it's a very smooth and fluid motion, almost kind of like what you'd expect if you use a trackpad like this. However, what I really love about this wheel is the ability for you to flick it and move very quickly down a web page. So if I go and flick it there, it moves right to the bottom of YouTube. I can easily go and just put my finger back on it and it'll stop it. You can flick just a little to give it a little bit of motion. You can flick with a lot of force to really go up to the top or the bottom of a web page quickly, and it just overall lends to a very kind of fun experience overall. One thing that I've also really enjoyed is the inclusion of the horizontal scroll wheel on the side of the mouse. And this makes it so that you can go and scroll through horizontal content like you would with a trackpad. So right now I have some code opened up right here, and normally with a trackpad I'd be able to just go and scroll horizontally like this, but with a conventional mouse you'd have to go to the bottom of the screen here and scroll like this, which can take a lot of time and be inconvenient. But with the MX Master 3, all I have to do is go and use this horizontal scroll wheel, and it'll bring me right to the end of that code so I can go and edit it there. This is really nice for developers like I've shown here, but it can also be really nice for video editors. You can use the horizontal scroll wheel instead of the vertical scroll wheel to progress through your timeline. And I think the first thing that I thought of when I saw the horizontal scroll wheel was using it with spreadsheets. So I can use the vertical wheel wheel to go down and the horizontal wheel to go to the left and to the right. However, when you compare the vertical scroll wheel to the horizontal scroll wheel, it is clear that this is using superior technology. This is all nice and fluid and fast, whereas this takes a very long time to move. In the Logi Options app, you can go to the point and scroll tab and change the speed at which the thumb wheel progresses, but I still wish that it was as fluid as the vertical scroll wheel is. Now, one of the most useful features of this mouse is the way that it pairs with multiple devices. So if I flip it over, there are 3 device presets that you can have the mouse paired to simultaneously. All you have to do to switch between devices is go and press this bottom button. And within a few seconds, it will move to that device. If I go and press it again, that's paired to my Windows computer. You can pair this to a tablet, a smartphone, whatever you want. And you can also pair this to the Logitech unifying receiver. So if you have a Logitech setup with a bunch of different mice, a bunch of different keyboards that all use that unifying receiver, you can use that same existing hardware and pair the MX Master 3 to that. I also love that you don't have to repair the devices over and over again. And pairing wise, it's fairly standard. All you have to do is go and press and hold the button on the device preset that you want. It will enter into a pairing mode, and then you just go and select the MX Master 3 from your Bluetooth settings list on the device that you want to pair it to. Master 3 shows up, click on the pair button, and just like that, now I have the mouse available on my iPad. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about the software for the MX Master is the fact that you can change the direction of the scroll wheel dependent of the direction of scrolling that you have set in your operating system. I'm used to scrolling the way that you do on a Windows computer, where if you move the scroll wheel down, that's going to move the web page down. However, in the Mac, that is inverted. It's actually what they call the natural scrolling direction, and that's what you'd use with the trackpad. So if I push up on the trackpad, that's going to move the content down, and if I push down, that's going to move the content up. And for me, on a trackpad, that's very natural, but that is not natural at all on a mouse. But if I were to change that setting in Mac OS and invert that, that would screw up the way that the trackpad works. But with the MX Master, I can go into the software here and select the scroll direction and change that to standard. So now if I go and scroll with the MX Master, it works the exact same way that I'd normally expect, and the trackpad also works the way that I'd expect. And I love that it gives you that customizability. I also love that you can go and customize the functions of different buttons here. So I can go and change what happens when I press the middle button. I can go and assign that to a combination of keystrokes to do a hotkey. Or I could even go to the top of the application here and enable application specific settings. So I could, let's say, go into Google Chrome and select the horizontal scroll wheel and tell that to switch between tabs. That'll shift between the different tabs here. Whereas if I go back to Microsoft Excel, that's still doing the normal function. However, my biggest complaint about this mouse is actually the gesture button as it relates to the software that I was just praising. I found that when it works very nicely. I love the ability to go and press it once on Mac to open up Mission Control and to be able to quickly go and switch between apps that way, and the ability for you to go and press down on the gesture button and then move your mouse as you would if you were, let's say, on a trackpad switching between desktops. There isn't really an easy way to do that if you have a mouse only setup on your Mac without having to use keyboard shortcuts. However, I found that this is very unreliable at best. It does work for just a little bit, as it has been working here, but after about 3 or 4 minutes of trying to use that, I'll go back to it and it'll just not do anything at all. Or it will do some default function like switch between windows or something, which I don't really want. And I've really observed the same behavior on Windows, so I've just found that I kind of ignore the gesture button, which is a shame because that was one of the key things that sold me on the MX Master 3. As a button itself, it's kind of awkward, it's very mushy. It doesn't really make a tactile sound at all. It's in a very awkward position right next to your thumb, something that you wouldn't really use for normal button gestures. And although the application does allow you to go and change what functions it does have, I've just found that to be very awkward at best, using it for anything other than the gesture button. The other thing that I've tried to do with this mouse and I found just doesn't really work that well is gaming. Now, obviously this is a productivity oriented product, so it makes sense why the gaming experience isn't the best. But then again, it's still $100 and you would expect it to be a bit more versatile. But I've just found that this scroll wheel, which I love for video editing and programming, I absolutely hate for gaming. I just prefer having a mechanical just a regular ratchet on a gaming mouse. And I also prefer the ergonomics of a traditional gaming mouse, although this is very comfortable in your hand and it conforms very well for long sessions of productivity and kind of light usage, you know, scrolling through web pages and stuff. When you're holding on to this for a very long period of time for a first-person shooter, it just kind of gets hot and awkward, and I just don't really like it. You also don't have any ability to change the DPI or the sensitivity of the mouse cursor from the mouse itself. In order to actually change the pointer speed, you have to go into the MX Master software and configure it here, which is definitely not as convenient as having that built into the hardware. And it also does not have any ability for you to use the mouse in a wired mode independently from the wireless mode. It's just not going to be nearly as responsive as you'd expect from a gaming mouse. Now, I understand who this is targeted at. It's probably targeted at someone like me who does a lot of video editing, a lot of programming, and also has both a Windows PC and a Mac on their desk at all times. For that, this mouse is the perfect product. But for anyone else, for somebody that only has one computer, or for somebody that doesn't really do a lot of intensive or power user work with the mouse, I really just don't think it's worth it. It's a nice design, but it doesn't offer the versatility that a gamer would expect, and it just has a lot of features that you probably wouldn't use if you're a casual user. But for the power users like myself, the MX Master 3 does offer a fantastic package, a complete package of almost every feature that a power user might want. And although it does have some flaws, and although the software isn't perfect, it is still a fantastic mouse. So with that said, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.